For centuries, unicorns have enchanted the human imagination. From ancient civilizations to medieval Europe, these elusive creatures have come to represent everything from purity to unattainable beauty. But where did the myth of the unicorn begin? And how has its meaning shifted across different cultures? In this journey, we'll unravel the origins of the unicorn in ancient Indian, Chinese, Mesopotamian, and Greek myths, dive into biblical references, and uncover how it transformed into the elegant symbol of chastity and spiritual purity in medieval European lore. And of course, along the way, we'll debunk some of the myths that have clung to the unicorn's sparkling image. Let's begin our story in the ancient civilizations of India and Mesopotamia. In India, the unicorn may have its roots in the Indus Valley civilization. Archaeologists have discovered seals depicting a one-horned creature that some believe could be the first recorded unicorn. Whether this creature was a stylized bull or an early interpretation of the unicorn, the debate remains. But even at this early stage, the creature seemed to symbolize strength and mystery, its single horn perhaps representing an otherworldly connection. Meanwhile, in Mesopotamian myths, creatures like the kusariku, often depicted as half-human, half-bull, show how horned animals carried a sacred meaning. Though not unicorns in the traditional sense, these creatures paved the way for later myths. Both cultures revered one-horned beasts as something more than ordinary animals, symbolic of rarity and divine favor. Yet here's a misconception to clear. Neither civilization saw unicorns as delicate fairy tale beings. In their earliest forms, unicorns were wild, powerful, and closer to beasts of battle than of beauty. In China, the Qilin offers a fascinating twist on the unicorn myth. First mentioned in ancient texts over 2,000 years ago, the Qilin is often depicted as a creature with the body of a deer, the tail of an ox, and, most importantly, a single horn. However, the Qilin wasn't just a whimsical creature. It was deeply symbolic. Appearing only during times of peace and prosperity, it represented good fortune and divine justice. Unlike the unicorns of European myth, the Qilin was not elusive or delicate, but rather a creature that heralded the reign of a wise and just ruler. Interestingly, some misconceptions about the unicorn stem from blending the Chinese Qilin with the European unicorn myth, leading people to assume all cultures saw unicorns as symbols of purity and innocence. But in China, the Qilin was far more grounded in political and moral significance, a beacon of cosmic order. In Greek mythology, unicorns didn't originate from local legends, but rather entered through the writings of ancient Greek travelers and natural historians. The famed Greek physician and historian Ctesias, around 400 BCE, was the first to describe a unicorn-like creature in his work, Indica. He claimed that these creatures resided in India and were the size of horses, with white bodies, dark blue eyes, and a single, large, spiral horn of mixed colors on their foreheads. Ctesias's description was more akin to that of an exotic animal, one that ancient Greeks believed lived beyond their known world. Unlike the later Christian interpretation, the Greeks didn't associate the unicorn with spiritual purity, but rather with mystery and rarity. The unicorn was a foreign marvel, an elusive creature from distant lands that symbolized the unknown. In many ways, the Greeks viewed the unicorn as a beast of wonder, as much an object of fascination as fear. As we move westward, the image of the unicorn starts to shift dramatically. The Bible contains references to a creature called the Re'em, often translated as a unicorn in early versions of the text. However, scholars now believe the Re'em was more likely a wild ox, or perhaps a rhinoceros. This didn't stop medieval theologians from latching onto the unicorn as a symbol of Christ. Pure, rare, and untouchable by the corruption of the world. Here's where we start to see the unicorn's association with purity and virginity, themes that would dominate its representation in European art and literature. In classical mythology, unicorns also appear, though they're described more like exotic animals from distant lands. Greek accounts, like those of Ctesias, fed into this narrative, suggesting that unicorns were real, natural creatures with extraordinary attributes. While the Greeks may not have developed unicorn mythology deeply, their descriptions helped frame the unicorn as a symbol of rarity and majesty, a reputation it would carry into medieval Europe. By the time we reach the Middle Ages, the unicorn has fully evolved into a symbol of chastity, grace, and spiritual purity. In this period, unicorns adorned the pages of illuminated manuscripts, tapestries, and stained glass windows. One of the most famous artistic depictions comes from the Hunt of the Unicorn tapestries, which show a unicorn being captured and killed, a metaphor for Christ's sacrifice. Yet even in this period, misconceptions abound. For one, the idea that unicorns could purify water by dipping their horns into a poisoned stream, though popular, has no basis in earlier myths. This trope likely arose from medieval bestiaries, which often blurred the line between symbolic interpretation and natural history. While unicorn horns were prized as valuable relics, often narwhal tusks passed off as genuine, unicorn horns, the magical powers attributed to them, were largely a fabrication of medieval imagination. As we move through time, the unicorn symbolism continues to evolve. In medieval Europe, the unicorn was linked to courtly love and the unattainable, but by the Renaissance, it also became a symbol of political power and sovereignty, often appearing alongside royalty. In the 19th and 20th centuries, unicorns began to shed their religious associations and morphed into the fantastical creatures we know today. It's worth noting that many modern misconceptions stem from this later period. While we now think of unicorns as gentle, ethereal beings, their origins are far more complex. They were not always symbols of innocence, but creatures of divine power, mystery, and sometimes even fear. This blending of purity with wildness, of danger with beauty, gives the unicorn its unique place in the mythological canon. So, where does this leave us? Unicorns, with their myriad meanings, from purity and chastity to cosmic order and political power, continue to capture our imaginations. They are, in every sense, creatures of myth, forever shifting, elusive, and open to interpretation. The question is, will the unicorn ever stop evolving? Or is it destined to remain a reflection of our deepest desires and cultural ideals?